The water is black, cold, and almost silent. Then the mud beneath you moves. Two claws rise from the darkness, each lined with jagged teeth, and behind them comes a body longer than a man is tall. This is Jaekelopterus, the giant sea scorpion, an 8-foot armored predator from the Devonian world. And if you think its size was the worst part, wait until you learn what those claws were built to do. Nearly 400 million years ago, long before dinosaurs thundered across the land, Earth's waters belonged to creatures that looked less like animals and more like weapons. Rivers and shallow channels were dim, murky, and crowded with unfamiliar life. Primitive fish moved through clouds of silt. Armored species hugged the bottom. Strange, jawless swimmers drifted through weeds and submerged roots. And somewhere below them, hidden in the brown-green gloom, Jaekelopterus waited. People call it a sea scorpion, but it was not a true scorpion, and it may not have lived in the open sea at all. It belonged to a group called eurypterids, ancient aquatic arthropods related to modern spiders, scorpions, and horseshoe crabs. Some eurypterids could fit in your hand. Jaekelopterus was different. Fossil evidence suggests the largest individuals may have reached around 8 feet, making it one of the biggest arthropods ever known. It could have stretched from the floor to the ceiling of a room. Its body was divided into hard, overlapping sections. A broad shield covered the front. Behind it, the abdomen narrowed into a powerful tail. Several pairs of limbs moved beneath the armor, while paddle-like appendages pushed it through the water. But the feature that made Jaekelopterus terrifying was positioned at the front. 2 enormous, grasping claws. Those claws were not delicate pincers. They were long, jointed traps, armed with inward-facing spikes. When they closed, prey would have been pinned between rows of hard projections. A slippery fish could twist, thrash, and slam its tail, but every movement risked driving the spikes deeper. Jaekelopterus did not need the venomous sting of a modern scorpion. Its body was already a killing machine. And here is the first mystery. Scientists have never found a complete Jaekelopterus skeleton. Much of its legendary size comes from a single massive claw fragment. From that piece, researchers estimated the scale of the whole animal. But how can one broken weapon reveal the size of a monster? The answer comes later, and it shows just how enormous this predator may really have been. For now, follow it into the water. The bottom is soft beneath its legs. Every step releases a slow bloom of sediment. Sunlight reaches down in weak, broken shafts, turning the water the color of old bronze. Jaekelopterus stays low, its armored body blending into the mud. It does not need to race. It only needs to remain unseen until something moves close enough. A fish passes through the haze. It senses a pressure change, but too late. The giant eurypterid surges forward. Its paddles drive water backward. Its front claws spread wide, forming a cage. Then they snap inward. The attack may have lasted seconds. The water erupts with silt. Scales flash. A tail beats against armor. The claws tighten, dragging the prey toward the mouth. Jaekelopterus had small, sharp structures near its feeding area that could help tear and crush food. It likely fed on fish and other aquatic animals, possibly including smaller eurypterids. In a world filled with hard shells and armored bodies, strength mattered. Its outer skeleton protected it, but armor came with a cost. Like all arthropods, it had to molt. To grow larger, it needed to split its old shell and pull itself free. Afterward, the new covering would have been soft. The giant predator of the shallows could suddenly become vulnerable, slow, and exposed.
That leads to the second question.
What could threaten an animal this large? Jaekelopterus seems unstoppable, but the Devonian was not an empty kingdom. New predators were evolving, jaws were becoming stronger, and the balance of power was changing. One group in particular would eventually help end the age of the sea scorpions. Before that shift, Jaekelopterus occupied a world made for ambush. Many Devonian waterways were tangled systems of rivers, deltas, floodplains, and brackish channels. Storms turned calm water into violent churn. Floods buried animals under mud. Decaying plants darkened the shallows. In that low visibility, a predator did not need perfect eyesight. It needed sensitivity, patience, and explosive movement. Jaekelopterus likely detected vibrations through the water and movement along the bottom. Its compound eyes gave it a wide view, but pressure and touch also revealed its surroundings. A flick of a fin, a scrape against stone, a disturbance in the mud, each signal could expose a meal. The huge claw fossil that revealed this animal's size was found in Germany. Researchers compared its proportions with better-known eurypterids. If claw size and body size followed a similar relationship, the complete animal could have reached roughly 2.5 meters. The estimate is not perfect. Fossils rarely give perfect answers. But even a smaller Jaekelopterus would still have been enormous beside almost every arthropod alive today. Why could it grow so large? The answer remains debated. High oxygen is often used to explain giant prehistoric arthropods, but Jaekelopterus lived in water, where oxygen works differently than it does for air-breathing insects. Its size may have come from a combination of environmental conditions, abundant prey, evolutionary history, and limited competition. Nature rarely builds monsters for one reason. Despite the nickname, it probably did not hold its tail over its body like a scorpion ready to sting. Its tail ended in a flattened structure, not a venomous barb. The resemblance came from its armored shape and grasping limbs, not from true scorpion anatomy. Jaekelopterus was its own kind of horror, less like a scorpion dropped into the ocean, more like a giant aquatic tank shaped by arthropod evolution. Still, size does not guarantee survival. During the Devonian, jawed fish were diversifying rapidly. Armored placoderms, early sharks, and powerful bony fish were becoming more capable hunters. Some grew large, some developed crushing bites, others became faster swimmers. They could pursue prey and compete for food in ways eurypterids could not always match. A freshly molted Jaekelopterus may have faced danger from large fish or even its own kind. Cannibalism is common among many arthropods today, and competition in ancient waterways could have been brutal. The same claws used to seize fish could turn against a rival. Two giants meeting in a narrow channel may have circled, raised their grasping limbs, and struck with sudden lunges. One cracked plate could mean weakness, infection, and death. Over millions of years, the waters changed. Ecosystems shifted. Fish became dominant across more habitats. Eurypterids survived long after Jaekelopterus, but their greatest giants disappeared. Eventually, the whole group vanished during the Permian mass extinction, leaving no living sea scorpion behind. What remained were fragments, pieces of armor, tracks in stone, and one enormous claw that forced scientists to rebuild the outline of a lost predator. That is what makes Jaekelopterus unsettling. It is not a fantasy creature designed to look frightening. It was real. It moved through ancient water with a body longer than a human, protected by armor, guided by vibration, and armed with claws built to lock prey inside a cage of spikes. Long before sharks ruled the oceans, before crocodiles waited in rivers, and before dinosaurs existed, the giant sea scorpion was already there. Beneath the muddy surface, the water could go still. A fish could drift too close to the bottom. The sediment could lift. Then the darkness would reach out and grab it.